Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the P3D Podcast. I'm your host, Clayton Welch, and with me, as always, I've got Michael Loin. What's up, Michael?
Hey, good to be here.
Dude, so big weekend.
Yeah, it was busy. Well, it wasn't as big as we wanted it to be.
Wasn't quite as big as we wanted it to be. So our church does the egg hunt for the town that we live in, or live near, I should say.
Yeah.
I live there. You don't.
I don't live anywhere near there.
Town. You live somewhat near there.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes.
Not the point. Anyway, the point is it rained. So,
no, it didn't. Okay, hang on.
12,000 eggs.
I feel like that's underselling it. It didn't just rain.
No, it was a
torrential.
Straight frog strangler for like 2 days.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And it was cold and windy, like really windy.
Yeah, so anyway, the rain came. It was a pretty big bummer. We had
bummer.
12,000 Easter eggs.
We still have 12,000 Easter eggs.
Yes, we do. And so we rescheduled it, and it's, of course, it's going to rain one day this week, and it's looking like it's going to be the day we're going to have the egg hunt.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it happens.
It happens. But you know what we did have?
We had an awesome Easter worship.
We had an awesome Easter worship.
3 services worth of it.
Yeah, for sure. 3 services. It was good. Good 3 services. Fun weekend. I think it went well.
Yep. So that brings me to the thing I wanted to talk about because, so we're doing this. Are we calling this one an overtime?
Yeah, man, this is overtime.
This is
What is overtime? Explain to the listeners what overtime is.
This is overtime is when me and Clayton have just been sitting around and we're just like, we got some stuff we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have a
stuff to
guest.
get off our chest.
We don't have a topic, but there's a couple of things. We just want to kind of chat about stuff. And so like this is the thing that got me. And I just want to throw this out there. Clayton, have you ever felt like you felt like the Lord was prompting you to pray for something really specific, or you were just praying for something really specific because you wanted or needed that specific thing to happen or come about, and you did it? You prayed, and then the answer was no.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing what that was?
I would say that, so I work for the fire department.
I do know that.
Okay. So I do not work for the initial fire department that I set out to work for.
Okay.
Okay. So my wife and I lived in Durham.
Oh, right.
And I was really, really trying to get hired
DFD.
up there. That was, the DFD, baby. I was trying to get hired there. And man, it was a huge, I prayed and tried and tried and tried. And
did all the things.
Did all the things.
Faithful.
All the things right. And you know what? It didn't happen. And it's easy to look back now and be like, you know how people look at hindsight and they be like, the Lord had other plans.
Yeah.
Which is true.
But in the moment, you're like, the heck?
Yeah, the heck. And everything worked out. I eventually got hired at a bigger city with cool stuff, met really cool people, and now I love my job. It's great.
Good.
But during that time,
career going.
it was not.
It's not fun.
It was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a different life than we were.
Right.
So
yeah, that's cool. So
the P3D podcast would not exist if I had gotten hired in Durham. I'll tell you that.
And then all 30 of you guys out there listening to us.
That's right. We know there are 30 of
we
you.
know who you are. We know where you live.
I know all the tricks.
Yeah. So I have. This is the thing that's happened to me a lot, and I was just evaluating. So I'll tell you what happened this weekend. I was praying specifically that between the Easter egg hunt and which we do like a big gospel presentation. Matt does a great job.
Yep.
And then Sunday morning Easter worship, where we always have a ton of people that just kind of come out of the woodwork, like people we know, people we don't know, people that are just visiting, but like they come on Easter. Lots of them are like kind of have like in and out relationship with the Lord. I was praying specifically, and I felt like the Lord prompted me to do it, to pray that 10 people would get saved, and that those 10 people would then get baptized on this coming Sunday, because we're doing an all-call baptism. Like that was what was on my heart. And so I was praying for 10 people to get saved. And then the egg hunt, it gets canceled. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like the Lord can, man, we're gonna have so many people at church on Sunday. And we did. We had, we probably had 400 people. Yeah. It was a lot.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Right at 300 something, right?
For sure.
It was a bunch, because we had like 250 in one service.
Yes.
So,
not counting kids.
Not counting the kids. Not counting. So it was a lot, which is a lot for us. Maybe your church is larger, maybe it's smaller. But either way, I was praying for 10 people to get saved. And then Sunday morning comes. First service, there really weren't any visitors, which it was just kind of like our normal like early service people, 8 o'clock. Came in. It was great. Got to meet some people. Some people visited. No one comes forward. No one responds to the gospel. No one writes on a next step card. Like nothing.
Right.
Second service, packed out. I mean, to the gills, right?
Gosh,
Like-
yeah, it was neat to see. That aspect was amazing, right?
Yeah.
So many people, we had to bring in extra chairs. We put all the chairs we had out,
All the chairs we had.
and then
Went into
we
the kids
needed more
area.
chairs, so we
and
had to go yank them from somewhere
Probably got
else.
30 chairs from the kids area.
Yeah.
Put those out. People sat in those.
Yep.
We were close to standing room only, which is cool because then Matt gives this great message from Acts 17. Paul at the Areopagus
Yep,
going
so
through the gospel, and he gives this really powerful, really strong invitation to respond to the gospel. And when he gets to the point of like asking people, like it's like, heads bowed, eyes closed, like who, he went through like several options, but the one was like, you want to begin a relationship with
4
Jesus
different
today.
ones, yep.
And like it was crickets, man. And I was like, dang. I felt like, and maybe
Yeah.
he said he saw maybe a hand, but we didn't get to follow
I
up
maybe
with
saw
him.
a hand.
Yeah, but they didn't come forward to talk to us. They didn't write anything on a next step card. So I don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know. And then third service came around. There were about as many people as the first service, maybe 70, 100 people.
Yeah.
Same thing. And like I didn't know what to do with that because I was like, Lord, I felt like you prompted me to pray specifically that 10 people get saved. And not only do less than 10 people get saved, at least that I'm aware of right now, none people got saved.
Yeah. Well, and so not just you prayed for it, but like a lot of people in the church set their alarms every day
For 316, right?
316 and prayed along. So thank you guys if you did that with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. You know what? Whenever we do that, when we say, all right, any church really.
Yep.
And they say, all right, all heads bowed, every eye closed. They always say, no one looking around.
You know who's looking around?
I know. I kind of want to
It's
look
me.
around, but
I
I
always
was
look
like, I was like, all right, don't look around. You don't need to know that. Just keep praying for whoever else.
I
raise their hand.
strategically positioned myself in the room so I could see everyone.
Yes. Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, that was kind of my
You
kind
are
of my
the
job.
discipleship
That's kind of my
pastor.
job. So like, I
Yes.
guess I get a free peek.
It's not my job to snoop on other people's stuff, but it is your job.
Yeah, it's my job to pry into your life.
Exactly.
Um,
No, but that is a bummer.
Yeah. So I guess the question came up, like, because then I started thinking about other times in my life, and I was having this conversation with other people. Like, do you ever prayed for something and you felt like this is a good thing? This is in accordance with the Lord's will. Like, I feel like He's prompted me to pray this way. You do it. Answers no. And other people were sharing stories, kind of like what you shared with like getting on it at Durham Fire Department.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my wife, we prayed for years for the Lord to send us overseas to plant churches in other countries, like Muslim countries.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like every time we would even try it, like we would feel like maybe the Lord's opening this door for us. We'd try it. If something would happen, whether it was like medical or finances or just like a school stuff, like it was like there was always something.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of prompted me to ask the question, like, what do we do? Like, how do we understand that? How do we understand that when we pray for something that we feel like we're being led to faithfully ask the Lord for this thing, it's a good thing. It's not even like a selfish thing. It's like just an objectively good thing. And He just says no. Like, what do we do with that?
Yeah. That's tough, man. Well, one, I would say that yes, we may not have had someone raise their hand,
Mm-hmm.
but no doubt if there was someone here that hadn't heard the gospel before,
Yep.
or even if they had heard it, but there's a seed planted somewhere
Yeah.
in one of those 4 categories. Even
Yep.
if people have already heard and believe in Jesus, there's
Yep.
something in there that maybe that seed will be planted through that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think if we didn't believe that, then like if we felt like the only time that there was fruit, then we would feel defeated a lot of times in ministry.
Yes.
Right. But just like the scriptures tell us that like the Lord's word doesn't return void. Christ gives us the parable of the sower, right, which tells us that people receive the word and respond in many different ways at many different times, right? That's not like you are forever, because in the parable there's different kinds of soils. The purpose of the parable isn't to say that you're always one kind of soil, but like that, it's different times of life, and the Lord is the one who directs these things. And so like, yeah, the gospel is powerful. And so like I'm aware of that. And I think I was reminded of that by some people, like, hey, like you, you don't determine what the fruit is going to be. You just determine, have you been faithful with what God gave you? And then someone pointed out to me that like, maybe it was praying that motivated, you to make sure everything, like there were no hiccups on Sunday morning, right?
It went smooth, right?
Right.
You were focused on removing every possible distraction.
Yeah.
Right. We tried to make everything. We tried to eliminate distractions. Right?
Yeah,
like make it possible for someone to even be in there to hear the sermon.
Yeah.
That's all you can really do.
We were on point with that stuff. Like, we were ready with plans if like, there weren't enough seats, or like, like the welcome team we had tons of people, like we had ushers, like there were people parking cars, like all that stuff that was like making it super easy for someone to get in here and not be mad or upset or confused. They just got to come in, sit down, and hear the gospel. Like maybe if we hadn't have been praying those things, if we hadn't been focused on that, then I would have just treated it like any other day.
Yeah, we don't need a parking tent. We probably don't need a
Right.
parking. People know where to park. They know what it is.
And that immediately challenged me to think, like, I should be thinking, why did I think this just about Easter? Like, why? I mean, obviously there were going to be visitors, like people that aren't normally here hearing the gospel. Like, I think that's what motivated. But why don't we think that? There's people that come and worship with us multiple times a month that need to hear the gospel, that need to repent and believe. They need to, and I don't treat it. So like I was immediately confronted and convicted about that.
Yeah. That's tough because you just get complacent and just get into like, I mean, I think, we've talked about it before, like not making everything about Sunday morning or whatever, but what's the best way to put this? It's easy because we work here. It's easy for this to be like, all right, we're going to come in, we're going to do our job, then we're going to go home. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like when seminary students, when you were in college, when you were going to seminary, I know a lot of people say, well, you think seminary might be this time where you just get to spend all this time with the Lord and it's so great. And you're always so refreshed. But then a lot of people go to seminary and then they're like, ugh, this is schoolwork. I don't want to do schoolwork. This is not cool. And you're like, what? You're getting to read the Bible. I'm like, it's schoolwork.
Yeah.
So do you think that could ever happen? Like on regular Sunday mornings where we're just like, all right, let's get in. Let's make sure everything goes all right. All right, we got enough kids workers.
Well, I guess
the live stream is up and running. There's no problems with that. We're on time right now.
Yeah. I guess in like an effort, like I guess I want to like steer. I want to keep that question, but then like broaden it up, like outside of like the context of ministry. Like I think that happens to all of us.
Yeah.
All the time, right? That we are
autopilot.
Yeah, we are trying to find a status quo, right? And it really takes something to jar us and shake us out of that. In order for us to think like, wait, am I really doing my best? Like, am I really like kind of, Jocko, like, am I getting after it?
Yeah.
Like, and like, I think that's what I was convicted. Like, I'm just like, I'm not getting after it just in general. Like maybe I need to, like, if this is what the next level looks like this is more than just once a year, like we do this on Easter, like this needs to be the standard.
Right.
Because if you can do it once, like what's to stop this from becoming like, we can pull this off. Let's just do this.
Yeah. And if there is something stopping you, find out what it is and fix it. Right. Yeah. If it's like, well, we need more people to be able to pull that off.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get more people.
Yeah. And so I think like in your personal life, what does that look like? Because so this is the like the very personal part of feeling challenged by the Lord not answering my prayer, not answering, I mean, our prayer, right? That a bunch of people get saved, is obviously the Lord's timing. Like he is going to do what he wills, and his will be accomplished, right? And we can we trust in that ultimately, not in what I prayed or what I did or what effort I put in, because the Lord is working and we're following behind him. But I thought along the lines of what we were just sharing is that, like in my personal life, like I need to be praying more faithful prayers. And I think maybe that was like, I think that's what the Lord was teaching me, is that basically like if he was talking to me, he would say, Michael, I put that in your heart to pray that 10 people would get saved, not because I was going to do it, but because I wanted you to be faithful enough to believe that I could and would do it, and that you needed to ask for it. Not necessarily because I'm going to do it.
So it's more about your relationship with him versus are we going to get 10 people saved?
Right. And I think that is my takeaway. And like I spent, me and the wife were working out in the yard with the kids yesterday a lot, and we kind of were talking back and forth as we were taking breaks. And I think that's, as you're doing like the mundane tasks of the day, like you're kind of processing through stuff, in your heart and mind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what where the Lord brought me, was like, hey man, I didn't tell you to do that and promise you I was going to do it. He's like, I can do it, and I can do it. I can save 10 people on accident. It's not like that's not the problem. It's that I wanted you to faithfully pray a prayer and believe it and leave the results to me.
Yeah.
And so I think that was huge for me. And I guess that's where, I just like it has always been a struggle when I hit stuff like that. And even like there was another thing recently, like I'm thinking about going back to school and like doing like doctorate or PhD or something like that.
Dr. Lawing sounds pretty doctorish.
It's very doctory.
Not just because it's Dr. Lawing, but
right.
Lawings. Yeah.
So I was like in the process of that, and like immediately like hit some just like logistical speed bumps, and just felt really like they were like, hey, if you want to get into this program, you're actually going to have to come and do some like classes to kind of get up to speed. You can't just jump straight in.
Oh man.
And
I
was
you're like, can I just come there and just give you money and you get me an education?
Right. And it was like, I felt super deflated because I felt like this was a thing that the Lord was prompting me to do. And here we go. Again, I'm like, okay, so maybe this isn't what he wants me to do. And then I realized I'd not actually been asking the Lord what he wanted me to do. I was just deciding to do it and hoping the Lord would bless it. So like, so like there's another thing that we do. It was just kind of an eye-opening thing for me. Just like praying that specific prayer and the Lord not doing that, but then doing something else, like really twofold, which was like, hey, you need to live more faithfully just in general. Like mostly what you're doing, you're trying to play it safe and live within the things that you can, within your power, pull off. What does it look like to set things up that if I don't show up, then it looks bad, right? Like where we've done everything we can, and then we're like the results we're hoping for, we can't accomplish. The Lord has to, and so like, but we're not playing it safe. We're like, well, if the Lord doesn't show up, I can still make it look good. Like I think that's what I was convicted of, is that like, it's this game that I'm kind of playing. So don't want to do it.
That sounds like that's a lot for your day after Easter.
Yeah.
Take it out in the yard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty normal. I don't know. Pretty critical guy in general, but
yeah. What do you think? I know you've been on mission trips and stuff, but like those long-term missionaries that uproot their life, go live in other countries for years, and maybe working on just a specific person, nonetheless. Like just one or two people, and pray all the time for God to change their heart. And then they may see fruit, they may not. Who knows? I think that
I got a text this morning from a family that I'm really close to. They live in like Central Asia. I won't say the country. They live in Central Asia. They've been there for 3 years now. They were in East Asia before then. And they just sent this picture. They sent a picture of their two oldest kids walking to Russian school. They're going down the street with their two neighbors' two kids. And they just said, will you please pray for our neighbor and her family, that they would know the love of Jesus, that the way we love one another. Pray for our kids to be able to share with their neighbor. She's become their best friend here and is over every day. And then just praying for some other stuff that has like people's names in it. But like, yeah, this idea that they've really, you use the word uproot their life. I think for people who are really called to missions, like it's probably different than that. I mean, it's not that you don't leave people behind, but there's this, and Sammy and I have struggled with this. There's this just urge, like an overwhelming drive to go and not uproot my life, but life is over there. Like the Lord is calling me so hard that I feel like my life is there. And when my friend was home recently, over the New Year, I was like, how you doing, man? He's like, I wish I was back. He's like, that place feels like home, because that's where the Lord is. It's like that's where how he's working. That's what he's got me doing. But yeah, I think it's one of those things that you definitely can't judge it by like, oh, I'm faithful because X number, like this number, like I've evangelized this many people, or seen this many people get saved.
Which is the opposite of most things where you have metrics. Metrics are pretty much numbers that show you how well you're doing, right?
Yeah. But like, that's a win for them. Like that their neighbor has become best friend. Their neighbor's kid has become best friends with their kid. Like, and how do you put that in a metric? But like, that's a huge win. They were like celebrating that and just saying like, man, this is a huge open door, because they just moved into a new house that they bought. It's like they haven't been there that long. Like it just got finished and they're, basically getting moved in now. So that's huge, and it's just a different, that's faithfulness just looks like, I think that's what faithfulness looks like, and not like, how many numbers of this, that, and the other thing have you had?
How many people have you dunked in the water?
Yeah.
How many?
But like, that's how I've been thinking lately. Even as we talk about baptisms, like, we're only baptizing 3 people.
Yeah, but this coming weekend we got 6 people sign up after.
I know, but then I think like 6, that's not enough. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, that's right. Yeah.
That's a total undersell of what that represents.
Right. Even if it was 1, we should be super excited.
Right.
And so if you are, we are really excited about that.
Yes.
I think in the context of this podcast, people listening could be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's wrong for me to think like, I wish it was more.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, man, it's the fact that people are still getting baptized proves that God is still at work. So, I don't know, man. It can be like, that's the toughest part about just life in general, is like, you look at, and you look at other people or whatever else is going on. So you're like, oh man, things would be so much better if X.
Yeah.
And
that the church is not excluded from that, right? So like we see what other churches are doing. We see their videos of people getting baptized, but oh man, that church had 300 people get baptized. What?
right.
Like, gosh, or like, just, I don't know. You're just not excluded from that.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. I think it's tough for all of us, right? I mean, maybe you work in a job where it's really easy to know what a win is, and that's awesome. Yeah. I would hope you'd be thankful for that. But like, how do you know you're winning at home with your kids and with your spouse? What does a win look like? And I think those things are helpful to develop. Like, what does it really look? Because it can't just be a number. But like, what does it look like for you to be winning?
We ate dinner together 4 times this week.
That's a win, I mean, like that would be,
no,
right?
I know, but if you were counting the number 4.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like, all right, if we didn't eat dinner together 4 times, then we suck at life.
But that would be one way of looking at it. Or you can say like, man, we ate dinner together most nights this week.
Yep.
More nights than we did.
That's true, because there's 7 days in a week. If you eat together 4 nights, that's most of the time. Most of the time.
Them odds will get you in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's right there.
Yeah. Man, I just don't want to get misled by the world in that kind of thinking. So anyways, that's my story of the Lord not answering a prayer and doing something in my heart, which is kind of good. It didn't feel good at the time.
No.
But I think it's good now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's good to, reflect on that. And,
yeah.
I mean, you had some people to kind of put you in check on it too. So
I did. I kind of brought it on. I was like, I can tell the way I'm feeling about this is wrong.
Were you kind of moping around and then they kind of slapped you around a bit and said, hey, suck it up?
No, I'm not really a moper. Okay. I usually, if I'm feeling funky about something, I'll usually ask someone like, hey, have you ever had the Lord not answer a prayer?
Yeah.
What do you do? I gotta try and be proactive about it. So I think I have enough bipolar, manic, depressant people in my family to be afraid of getting mopey, because who knows where that will lead. So I try and steer clear of that one. But what else is going on, man?
Oh man, not a lot, dude. Just busy now that now Easter's over, but we've got a lot of stuff coming up with the church. Now we're going to start planning like summer stuff.
That's right.
And all
that's right. We got Hungary. Our Hungary trip is in like 74 days, 73 days.
Which seems like a long way away, but when you're talking about going away, how many days y'all going to be gone?
We're going 10 days.
10 days is a long time. I haven't been gone 10 days. I've only like once since I've been married. I was gone 10 days, and it was great. I was at like a training, and I was with one of my really good friends. Awesome time at the training. 10 days away from your normal life is tough.
Yeah. When Novella was little, I was like less than a year old, I went to Malaysia for the first time, and I was gone. I was in Malaysia for like 11 days. Or 10 days. Oh. And then I stopped by to see the friend I was just telling you about. They happened to be in Chiang Mai, Thailand, like when they were in East Asia, and they were just like hanging out there. And I was like, well, bro, I'm coming to see you.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, normally we live 14 hours apart. If I'm 3 hours from you, I'm going to come see you.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen them in like 2 years. And so their little baby the baby that they were pregnant with when they left the last time was like a baby now, like almost a year old.
Yeah.
And so but I flew. So I was there in Thailand for another 3 days, and then I flew home, which is a day. So I was gone for 2 weeks. And when I came back, baby Novella, like she was not sad to see me. She wasn't like, who's this stranger? But she very clearly did not remember me.
Oh man, that's rough.
But she was like, this is a cool new person. You seem fun.
Yeah, I feel like I should like you for some reason.
That's what it was. She was like, I don't remember you, but you seem friendly. Yep. So. Anyways, I remember we used to think like, oh,
you're the
cool new guy.
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. So so we'll be there for 10 days, and we gotta like plan sports camps and English camps. We got a lot of stuff to do. So we got a meeting tomorrow night, kind of hammer some of that out. So, yeah.
Well, hey, look, overtime has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Look, you know what's funny? If you guys are listening,
if
you're still listening, this was really good. We tried to plot out what we were going to do before we came in here.
We talked about none of those things.
We talked about none of those things. We had 4 different things to talk about, and we didn't talk about any of them, which is totally fine. But I like what we talked about today.
There's overtime for you.
There's overtime. That's what happens on overtime. This was like... It's funny, overtime started out as the non-edited, like whatever happens.
Yeah.
And then the entire podcast basically turned into that.
Yeah. I think it's fun.
It's totally fun. It's fun.
Yeah. We just want to put stuff out there that might be useful for us or you guys.
Yeah.
I send people podcast episodes all the time. I'm like, hey, I've actually talked about this, and I don't have time to talk about it with you in the hallway right now because I need to go talk to this other person.
Yeah.
But here, listen to this.
Some people come up to me and they're like, let me know, like secretly that they listen somehow or another.
Yeah, it's always like, hey,
like you don't know
a podcast. Like, hey, why don't you tell more people?
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Yes, but I'll have some people, particularly one person at the fire station I know, and he'll say something, let me know that he listened to it, and I'll be like, oh, okay, all right,
cool,
I hear you.
Yeah. We have a lady who watches the first service that's streamed on YouTube while she's getting ready to come to the second service.
What?
And so she'll walk up and like say something that contextually only makes sense if you've been here at the first service. And I always forget that she watched it, and I'll be like, hang on, what do you?
Yeah, wait a minute. What's going on here?
She cheats, so she double dips.
Okay, double dips on Sunday morning.
Yeah, right. But she also listens to the podcast too. So.
Dude, she's all in.
What up, Gwen?
That's what we're talking. Oh, yeah.
That's
hey,
right.
Gwen.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, cool. Well, if you guys have anything that you would like us to talk about, any type of questions you may have, feel free to reach out to us, Clayton@thepassagechurch.com or Michael@thepassagechurch.com. And if they want to go find out information about our church, can you guess the website that they go to?
It's probably thepassagechurch.com.
Ding, 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 ding.
We did get an email though. Someone solicited us saying, "Hey, passagechurch.com is available."
It is available,
but we're the Passage Church.
Yeah,
we're not Passage Church.
Yeah,
there's a "the" there,
and we're not the Passages Church.
Not that one either. Yeah.
Yep. There's only one passage.
There's one way.
Even if you say it logically to yourself about a church, you would say it's not the Passages. Unless you're Unitarian?
Yeah, that would work, probably. Universalist, Unitarian.
Universal, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
But the Unitarian part does, yes, that's right. It's
Okay.
all,
Word.
One God, different flavors. No way.
One God, different flavors.
This ain't Ben and Jerry's.
I've never heard that before. 31 flavors.
Dude,
you're throwing out all kind of things I've never heard before. That's pretty funny.
All right.
Well, awesome. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. Michael, you got anything else?
Nope. Be good.
All right, be good. We'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.